Hi guys, welcome or welcome back on my channel. This is my second video and I'm really excited to be here. I feel like I chose a pretty fun topic today. Again, just a little thing that I'm sure if you've seen my first video, editing is not my strong suit. I am really sorry, I am working on it. Also, I'm recording from an old Mac or an old iPhone, so I know it's not great and I'm really sorry. But please stay tuned for this video. It should be a lot of fun and I think you're gonna enjoy it and maybe even learn a few things. Thanks. So after losing about like 45 pounds on the keto diet, I actually learned a few stuff. I know keto is very famous, but I want to share my experience. So first, in case you don't know, and I'm just saying in case, keto is pretty much when you are cutting out carbs and increasing your fat. So that's the most basic explanation pretty much of keto. So it's no more bread, no more pasta, no more rice, all of that yummy stuff, and also not even fruits, because fruits are very high in sugar, and on keto there are no sugars. Doesn't matter if it's healthy or unhealthy. So that's the very basic of the diet. Now, when I started the keto diet, I did a lot of research and I found out through my own experience what is kind of true, what is not true at all, and what is totally true. So the first thing about the keto diet is that a lot of people who do it think it's the best fit for everyone and it's like a magic pill. Well, guess what? It is not for everyone and it's definitely not a magic pill. Here's the thing, on keto you're gonna be losing a lot of weight within a week or maybe 2 weeks. You're gonna be losing so much weight. I think lost about like 10 pounds within 2 weeks. Now here is the thing, it's all water weight. Because you're depriving your body of carbs, it's not fat or it's not muscle, it's just water. Your weight loss is gonna stop or at least slow down once you get rid of this excess water. Keto is not magic. Again, you need to be eating at a calorie deficit for keto to actually work and help you lose weight. If you eat 3,000 calories and you need 2,500 on keto, you're gonna gain weight. If you eat 2,500 and you need 25, you're gonna maintain. If you're eating 2,000 and you need 2,500, guess what? You're gonna lose. It's like any other diet. Keto is no better. It is not unique. It is not a magic pill. So don't get fooled. It's like any other diet at the end of the day. Also, people like to sell you on like how amazing it is with all of that yummy food you can eat, like chicken wings and bacon and so on. But the actual truth is, keto is extremely restrictive and it's definitely not for everyone. I know I made it work, I know I love it, but I don't actually recommend it to people. If someone is pushing you on doing keto and you don't think it's for you, then guess what? Probably not for you. So that's very important. Keto, like not everyone does well on it. Some people never pass the stage of like the keto flu and getting like fat adapted. They just hate it. They don't like the food. They keep gaining weight, or at least they don't lose any. It is not for everyone. So that's absolutely not true. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, keto is like every other diet. You need to cut off calories. Now, one thing though is I have a friend. She started the keto diet and within like 2 weeks, she gained like 5 pounds. And I'm like, well, usually at the beginning is when you lose the most, like the fastest and the most. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, I upped my fat. And I'm like, yeah, but did you cut off your carbs? And she's like, no. So I will say it again, like keto is actually not a diet where you need to eat a lot of fat. It's a diet where you need to eat very little carbs. I personally go with about like with my body weight percentage, so I eat about 7% of carbs for 110 pounds. That's come out to about like 13 grams of carb. Most people will go with the sample rule. Under 20 grams is totally fine, which I believe it is. And as of today, I don't even really do like 13. I'm probably a lot closer to like 18, 20 because I'm not tracking as carefully and I'm just enjoying my life. It's totally fine. It can work that way too. It really depends on how strict you want to be when you begin or on the long term. It's up to you. But again, you don't need to eat that much fat. Also, I will say that fat is like every food that's dense in fat is gonna be very high calorie. Like a tablespoon of butter is 100 grams. It's like 3 little chicken wings are about 170 grams, 170 calories if you buy them like pre-made from the grocery store. So again, it's very easy to overeat on keto in the way that even if you don't eat much, you're gonna be eating a lot of calories. So that's why it's also a little bit tricky. Be careful. Don't overdo it on the fat. It's very easy to overdo it on the fat. Do not, I repeat, do not listen to anyone who is just telling you to up your fat. It is not gonna work unless, of course, you wanna gain 20 pounds in a month. Then you're doing a great job. If you have ever researched keto, you know there are a lot of different kinds of keto. There is flexible keto, strict keto, healthy keto, dirty keto. There are so many different kinds of keto. As I said in my previous video, I started with very strict and very healthy, tracking everything, being very mindful of what I was eating. You don't have to do it. But if you go on like dirty keto, I'm going to come back on my point that I made right before, is that the food is going to be very calorie dense. And again, you're probably going to be overeating or not being able to lose as well. So in my opinion, anyone who is telling you like, oh yeah, you can do dirty keto and you'll be just fine, they might be true, it might be true, it might not. Because it's a lot harder to be in a calorie deficit when you're doing dirty keto, eating like 10 slices of bacon a day and 10 chicken wings and 10 fatty patty burgers than it is if you eat an actual balanced and healthy meals on keto. So don't listen to anyone who is advertising that diet as like, yeah, you can eat whatever you want whenever you want as long as it's low carb. I personally don't think it's the truth at all. You need to be mindful of how much calorie you're eating and how much calories there is in the food you're eating. Okay, this is gonna be a fun part. Truth or not, the keto flu. Here's the thing, when I researched keto, I did learn about the keto flu. It's everywhere, and I thought like, oh, it can't be that bad. I mean, you know, you're just changing your diet a little, it's not the end of the world. Well, let me tell you, oh, was I wrong? I was so wrong. I was so sick. So for 3 days on keto, I was totally fine, and everything was good, and no issues, right? Working it. Now the thing is, on the first day, I started feeling really thirsty and I started feeling really tired, even like a bit dizzy. I was not feeling well at all. True story. And then that got worse and worse and worse and worse. For a full week, I was sick, like exactly like if I had the actual flu. I didn't have any energy. I was weak. I was so thirsty. Like I could drink like 2 gallons a day easily, and I was still feeling thirsty. I tried like pumping up my electrolyte. Like I rushed to the store to get some. Didn't do anything for me at first. Like I was miserable. It is not a joke. I'm sure different people have different reactions, but when you read about the keto flu, that's actually true. That's the thing, and that can be really nasty. I lived it, like I don't wish it to anyone kind of thing. It was not pleasant at all. Also, what I did discover is that getting into ketosis is one thing that's actually pretty quick, like 3 days to a week at the most maybe. But getting fat adapted, it's something totally different. It took me about 5 weeks to be back to my normal self. So pretty much like what happened is that for 3 days I was fine. Then for a week I was sick, and then I started getting better and better and better, having less symptoms of the keto flu. But I was still not back to my previous energy before I started the keto diet. It was hard. It took me, again, 5 weeks before I was back to being totally normal. That's also, I think, one of the reasons people dislike the keto diet so much is because they don't stick with it and they don't actually see how good it can be, because it's hard to get to that good part. It takes like dedication, like real serious dedication. It is not that easy and it's not fun at all. Even if you like the food you're eating, for me that was a very big thing. I actually enjoyed what I was eating from the beginning on the keto diet, so it made a huge difference. But I can totally understand why people move away from it, because you're not losing much weight for a little bit. You're feeling bad, you're stressed, you're tired, you're not comfortable. Like it is a tough diet to start. So that is true, and keep that in mind. Should you be tracking everything you eat when you start keto? I think it really depends to you. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve, and also what kind of knowledge you already have. Like me, I had very little knowledge about what kind of food had how much carb, pretty much saying that, you know, I knew like protein stuff, for example, didn't have any carbs in it, but then I didn't know how much carbs were in a tomato or how much carbs were in sour cream or any kind of specific dressing or anything like that. And I also did track my food, as I mentioned in my previous video, to, you know, teach me portion size and how calorie dense things could be and all of that stuff. So again, you can get away with not tracking, but I will strongly advise to listen to people who do tell you to track. Even if you're actually not tracking for the calories, at least just to learn for the carbs, because most people don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, don't go eat a potato and don't go eat a full plate of pasta. That almost everyone knows, I'm sure. But then for the little details that might make all of the difference in your diet, then yes, you should probably be tracking, even if I wouldn't say you have to. So it's really up to you and to make that decision. Keto is an appetite suppressant, truth or not? Yes, very, 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 very true. To the point that I actually found out, because that happened to me, some people have to snap out of ketosis because they just totally lose their appetite. At some point, like last month, I realized that I almost was not eating anything at all anymore. I couldn't believe it. Like, I stopped tracking my calories about 3 months and a half within the diet, when I felt like comfortable and I had a good grasp of, you know, my carbs and my calories. And so I totally stopped tracking. And then last month, mid-July, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm eating much, but I'm not hungry. I was feeling a little bit weak too. So for 2 days, I decided to track my food again, just to have an idea of actually how much I was eating, because I was eating totally intuitively. Like, I wasn't like, you know, already counting anything. I was just eating keto food and eating when I was hungry. Oh boy, I was eating like 700 calories a day. Keto can get insane for some people. It can get to the point that it's dangerous. I don't know. I don't think everyone goes through the same thing, because again, we are all different, but I know some people have said that it happened to them, and it has happened to me. You have to be very mindful of how much you're eating, also in the way that sometimes once you're really into keto and once you really adapted, that might suppress your appetite more than you actually want. And the truth is, it's actually just as hard to make yourself eat when you're not hungry than try to limit food when you are hungry. So it's very challenging. And I didn't snap out of ketosis because of that, but I actually added some calories, like blank calories here and there, just to make sure I had enough energy through the day. So, you know, I ended up making bulletproof coffee, like full of butter and full of oil. I ended up adding some like butter in my food. Like, I had some little tricks, because the thing is, I'm usually not hungry, but I do know my body needs energy to function and to function right. So yes, that is very true. Keto can be a powerful appetite suppressant, probably the most powerful I've been on. So you have to keep that in mind, and you have to make sure you eat enough if you're one of those people like me that keto just appetite disappear. Can you combine keto with other diets? I don't think it's a good idea. Some people do it. I've seen it. I think keto is already extremely restrictive, and I don't think it's a good idea. Like, I will say, I know some of you might not like it, but vegan keto, what do you eat? Like, people just eat salads and stuff like that. Like, the thing is with vegans, for example, and it was the most obvious example. I'm absolutely not picking on any vegan diet. But if you're trying to do a vegan keto, most of like substitution, like food substitution that vegan can eat, keto won't allow it. And then most of what the food people on keto can eat, vegan won't allow it. I think you have to be very careful if you're in a mix and match diet, especially when diets are so restrictive. A vegan diet is extremely restrictive in my opinion, and so is a keto diet. So be mindful, try to choose what fits you the best, regardless if it's your diet, your taste, your beliefs. It doesn't matter. Just don't make it too extreme and too hard. That's gonna lead to failure on one side or another, or even maybe both. Keto is something that you have to learn and you have to deal with, kind of. It's not something you want to go about and restrict even more food. You're already cutting out like fruits and pasta and potatoes and all sugars and so on. Like, so even if I know some people are doing it or have done it, I personally will say keto does not mix well with other diets, whatever they are, because it's already extremely restrictive by itself. Finally, a very important fact about keto. I damn hope you love cauliflower. Here's the thing. Keto makes everything cauliflower. Cauliflower pizza crust, cauliflower mash, cauliflower rice, cauliflower mac and cheese. Everything on keto is made with cauliflower. So I really, really hope you are ready to love cauliflower. Now, if you don't, can you still eat keto? Yes, but it's gonna greatly limit your choice of food and how much substitution you can make. Like I make cauliflower mash a lot, and I made this kind of like shepherd's pie not long ago. I also make like cauliflower rice that I use in like jambalaya kind of recipes. I love to cook, so I need diversity in my food, and honestly, I use cauliflower almost every meal I eat, and I feel like it's most keto people. You should start growing cauliflower if you can, because it's a lot of them cauliflower, let me tell you. So yeah, that's another truth that I really wanted to share with about keto. I think it's one of the most important one. You need to be prepared to eat a lot of cauliflower. So here it is. That was my little truth about keto, the way I lived it, the way I still live it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give a thumbs up to the video. I have a few more videos that are going to be coming up soon, and hopefully I will see you back.